Hello.
Welcome to another episode of the Love Change podcast.
Yes.
Kay, Amor, your hosts. We've been getting some nice reactions to the podcast. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for subscribing. Shoot us topics if you got any change that you're going through um, today. Emotions. Kay's favorite topic, which have to be redirected to change.
It's about change.
From the beginning, it was all about change and emotions. Yeah. So, just a side note, I come from a big emotional lag in my system. I had a lot of trouble allowing emotions, acknowledging them, validating them, showing them. So, it is a very interesting topic for me personally to talk about. I'm curious what questions Kay has for me today.
Mm.
And I got a couple for you. Do you want to
Yeah.
start this time?
Yeah, sure. I think I would just say emotions for me. Most people would say I was coming from a place that I was dealing with emotions pretty well. I was pretty much in relationships, but I guess I managed to live next to people while being in a relationship. So also quite superficial way of
And here
opening up to people. Here we are.
talking about relationships.
Yeah, and change and emotions, etc. But yeah.
Now, for me, it's not even related to relationships. I think just, I guess, vulnerability, pain, hurt, just saying what's on your mind or showing how you feel outside of relationships also was something that I really had to learn to do in the moment instead of just ignoring it, suppressing it, feeling like there's not enough space for it, thinking that it's gonna make people walk away from me if I do show what I feel. That's my side of the story. But you kick it off.
Yes. So my questions are: what was your biggest unexpected change, and how did you deal with it emotionally?
Let me answer them one by one, or you want to read all the questions?
You can answer them one by one.
Can you repeat that question?
Sure. What was your biggest unexpected change, and how did you deal with it emotionally?
I've had so much unexpected change in my life.
You can pick your top one.
My top unexpected change. Really hard. Guess if I had to choose, I had to choose with between breaking my neck, that was unexpected and it was a big change, but also 2 years after breaking my neck, deciding to take a wheelchair was a big change. Big unexpected change. Moving to the Netherlands when I was little. Getting treated differently because I'm a foreigner. There's those things. But if I really had to choose, I think taking the wheelchair. I think that was the biggest. First time I broke my neck, I did everything I could to. Just I know the world is not made for wheelchairs, so I was really making sure that I could walk and walk away from that place, be able to take some stairs. And then about 2 years later, when my body was completely over exhausted and like one big injury, going back, it was not just a wheelchair. I was living together with my ex, found out that she was an alcoholic, was unexpected. Broke up with her as soon as I found out. told her to move out, finalized my studies in the rehab clinic, getting a wheelchair, getting kicked out of the company that I had with my sister, starting a new company. All these things happened at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and how I reacted to it, I guess it was like a big cocktail of a bunch of stuff that I had trouble dealing with. And I isolated myself. I really, how do you say it? Verwahrlosen. Really mistreated myself. I did not take good care
Mm-hmm.
of myself. I completely abandoned everything that would make me feel good. I was in a very dark place. I would not share that I was in a dark place. I would not allow people in my bubble. I was very isolated, very angry. Mm, but I guess mostly refusing it all. Or like I made decisions that
Mm-hmm.
I was stuck with and lived with, but it definitely most of it felt like me giving in, giving up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really judging myself heavily, a very strict internal voice telling me that I was weak and worth nothing.
Mm-hmm.
While in retrospect, I was very hurt and I needed love and compassion from myself, from my surrounding, but I would not allow that.
How did you come out of that?
I think eventually work dragged me out. Took a long ass time for the yoga school to start a new location, and then like uh, duty called.
Mm-hmm.
So I dragged myself. I wasn't done with the healing or anything, but just to get out of that dark spot,
Get a routine.
work helped. And then I think I lived the whole period of over sexual relationships, just very superficial. Um, slowly allowing more help into my life physically to recover from all the injuries with Louis. And I think mostly a couple of years of being very self destructive. You know? So I did not deal with it well. I just, yeah, became pretty, yeah, in retrospect, I can say it was a pretty dark period. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess I understand better now why my family was worried at times and helpless because I'm also stubborn as hell, so I wouldn't do what other people told me to do.
Nothing
Uh,
new.
yeah, it's like the donkey. If you push him, he pushes back. If you pull him, he pulls back. It's like just gonna have a carrot and a stick at the same time, throw it in the bin, walk away from the donkey. No, but I also emphasized that I needed my own process, like all the things that I went through, the weird extremes, and all those things. Eventually resulted in me feeling very locked up in the house I had back then. So I eventually went to a psychiatrist or shrink, I don't know which one, like just talking with a guy who really made me understand how bad I feel about receiving love and help because I'm afraid that it might stop at some point and then I have to deal with the disappointment of losing that.
Okay, I get you. Mm-hmm.
So
So it's like better to pull off
yeah, just not
upfront.
have it. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
would you eat something that's nice because you're gonna miss it when it's
Mm-hmm.
finished? You know. Um,
It's an interesting perspective.
it's a super scared relationship with the pain of letting go or losing or like missing stuff.
Yeah, instead of just enjoying the moment.
Yeah, I guess also in the past I could not imagine missing people. It just didn't exist in me because I think if I would be really honest, I miss people dearly, and it hurts me a great deal to miss them.
Mm.
You know, so it was a long journey, and it was yeah, wow, all the fluff aside, it was a huge clusterfuck. Like I really felt like I lost my resolve, my yeah, almost everything.
Mhm.
Like all the outlooks were gone, and I pushed hard for work. My technical partner in that startup bolted at some point. I had a super big burnout. I was just flatlining for 6 months, and then like a year later, eventually work picked up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for the honesty.
yeah. I think I don't know. Think you're on also same level, big change, unexpected to meet somebody
Absolutely.
that you flow with so much. Like 8 9 months later, we're doing this show. We're sharing so much, intertwined. That's also unexpected change on the plus note. And I feel
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
this time I still see the shadows of my old habits, not really being able to allow emotions in the moment, suppressing them instead of expressing them. But my ambitions have changed, so I'm experimenting more with it, I would say.
Mhm.
And I feel like definitely, yeah, I do feel like I've matured in the sense that I do not shy away from the fear of like, yeah, what if it doesn't work out? Then at least we tried.
Yeah. You don't seem like thinking about that though.
No, but it definitely was a reason why I would not get really emotionally involved. I would care greatly and deeply, but my I think from a very young age core belief was that people are replaceable.
Wow.
Yeah, which now I have realized some people are really fucking hard to find in the
Yeah,
first
just
place, and then
yeah.
replace them is impossible.
That's okay.
Yeah, and that was the coldness that I was coming from, I guess. Like
Mm.
if you put a frame around it, is like if your core belief is people are replaceable, then why would you commit? Why would you
Mhm.
care? Why would you yeah, feel things for people?
Yeah, it's true. I had moments where I was thinking that as well, but I never made it a core belief, I would say.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think if I would start to fall in love with someone, then I'd be like, yeah, pull out because otherwise,
It's gonna hurt.
yeah, it's gonna hurt. So,
Yeah, that's very understandable.
which yeah, is understandable, but it's also if you don't risk, you don't dare, then you also kind of cannot gain anything. That's what I believe now. I think that's why, yeah, risking the big adventure of the two of us is, yeah, of course it can go wrong, but it it's two people that have an impact on it. So think we both have a big share on if it will go wrong. And I think we are both pretty invested that it doesn't, you know. And if you are conscious about it every day, then you are the captain of the ship. And I think that's pretty, geez, more. Sorry. Yeah, I think that's a big insight for me that it really you are steering your own ship and you can decide and you create your reality. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like just realizing that the experience, however long it lasts, is a gift.
Mm.
You can accept the gift or decline the gift.
Mm. Yeah, and for me, it's really like what changed a couple of years ago is really to live in the moment and just really enjoy it every day and realize every day how precious that is and that it's not given. It's not given, it's something you really,
Yeah, I see that with you. I think
consciously decide
definitely
for.
a great teacher of not being stressed out by time. Really, almost indulging in the moment. Like
Yeah, have
I'm
my
gonna
moments.
savor it. I'm gonna savor this moment, and that's
Yeah.
such a thing that I was not good at. I was at so many places at the same time.
I had I mean, it's not that I haven't been there. I had that. But I really learned and my formula when I have my indulgence moment is like to indulge with all my senses. So really when there's something really beautiful happening, I'm like, how does that day smell? How does it taste? How does it feel? Like what kind of emotional feeling do I feel in my body? How does it really feel in touch? And like really preserve that. And then I go.
Beautiful.
And then when it comes back, you kind of
You soak
anchor
it
that
in.
feeling with so many different levels that it really comes back super alive. When you think about that moment, it kind of like it really floods you because you preserved it with so
Completely in
many
your
different
body.
senses. Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
very
When you smell
somatic
something and
experience.
you get reminded of your childhood dish or whatever. So basically, that way you kind of anchor this whole experience in your body to preserve it. And yeah, it's a good one for me to, you know, those really
That's
precious
a nice,
moments.
nice method. I will try it.
Sometimes it's really like you stop time for a moment. You're like, it smells like a very nice fall day. It's kind of crispy in the air,
The wind is
and
blowing.
yeah, and the taste is I don't know what. It's really just nice, and you feel your cold fingers, and you just like that's the whole emotional package that comes with
I
it.
guess I did that when I was writing. When I was writing the book, that really,
Yeah.
it's all about show, don't tell. So really using the five senses to describe,
Yeah.
really create an experience for the reader. And to do that, you have to feel the five senses in the first place to be able to talk about it. So for me, because I was writing autobiography, I really had to. I was amazed to discover also that when I sat with it and dug into my memory banks, I did have the sensational feelings and like memories that I did not register at the moment.
Yeah, your body just remembers.
Your body
But
is
like
like saving
unconsciously.
so much data, so much
And
data.
especially when you like have something unpleasant, something not great, and it gets stuck in you, then it just gets stuck and it comes
It's
out.
constipated.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And yeah, when like that feeling comes back, it hits you full. So on a good level, but at the same time on a bad level. So yeah, good one.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks for that question.
sure.
You want me to bounce back one on
Yeah,
you?
sure.
So I cannot read, but I think it was. What are your first, second, and third reactions to emotionally to something unexpected that is not nice happening?
Yeah, I think I would start with the past because it really changed nowadays.
Okay.
But I think like now seeing the pattern of the last years when things happened personally, work related, I would get really angry and upset about things that I didn't like. And I'd be like, why? Like trying to bend the happening into what I wanted to have. I was always trying to have control. And whenever something happened that was not my plan, I just get really angry, upset, sad,
Well,
all those kind of emotions, and be just like, yeah, why? Instead of just what I do now is like asking the neutral why and be like,
What's the difference?
yeah, it's like, what is it telling me? What is the universe telling me that I
Okay.
shouldn't do this? Like, why is there an obstacle coming in my way? Like, is it is it a warning? Is it something that I shouldn't do? Why is it something that is stopping me from just like going my way?
So right now, maybe today, because of Corona, we got told that we're going lockdown again.
Yeah.
What are your emotional reactions to that?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's time to sit my ass even more down and figure out my online business and really make it work as an online concept.
And
So,
emotionally, how do you? How do
yeah, of
you?
course, I have some remorse. I have some sadness in me because I'm just like, yeah, I'm not. I think no one is happy to be locked up in a house again. But at the same time, I'm like, if I look back at the last months, I'm like, I think we did a good job. We still had a lot of experience. We still did a lot,
Plenty.
and we didn't like, yeah, I don't know, just like got locked in a house and didn't do anything and got fearful of corona or whatever. We
But
still
the
have been on.
anger is replaced by remorse now. Is that what I hear you saying?
No, I would say the anger is more replaced by a way more neutral feeling. Really just like why.
And what happened to the anger then?
I think I kind of really got anger out of my system.
Okay.
It's like I kind of trust in the bigger power of things and the bigger picture of things. And instead of getting angry, I'm like, what is it telling me? Why is it happening? If I look back at things that, I don't know, when I got my heart broken or whatever, and I was just sitting there crying and asking the big why question, I was like, just so sad. And if I look back now, I'm like, it was the best thing could happen. Whatever it was. When I got my burnout, I was like, no, I want to perform more. I don't want to be down. And now I'm like, yeah, come on, it was the best thing could happen. So I think when the older you get, the more you go through that, the more you just like, what is the story behind the story? What is it trying to tell me? Instead of be like, I don't want that. Maybe that's how it feels, but then I'm like, anger doesn't solve any.
And before you said you were showing these emotions by crying, or I don't know, how did you show your emotions versus how do you show them now? How does it manifest these
Oh
feelings?
well, I would not show my emotions outside. I would just cry inside and then put my superwoman suit on and go to work the next day as if nothing happened and just play it down and be cool. And yeah, now if I have a bad day or I'm just not on top of things and I really feel not great, and I'm like, yeah, it's okay to take a day off. It's okay to listen to my body. It's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to tell people that I'm not available today. I cannot make it, or
It's not dealing with this stuff right now.
yeah, absolutely. It's just, I think it's a big change to really, yeah, also take off the super Wonder Woman costume. And I think that's also what most people really admire when they talk to me. They're like, yeah, you are authentic because you just really also admit,
That it's not working.
yeah,
When it's not working.
yeah. And I
That's true.
think I have played so much cool the last years and I haven't been great, but I just pretended to. And
Nope.
that makes me
That's
way
nice.
more alive.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real
So
nice.
if you say that you like my pace and how I deal with time, is really just like I know there's a time and place for everything, and it's not that I'm slacking. That's the point. I do my best to do the stuff I'm wanting to do, and I'm just like I know it will happen when I'm ready. It doesn't help me to run. I feel like
I have quite some trouble to not tell myself that I'm slacking, even though I'm not slacking. Like if I sum up all the things I'm doing,
mhm,
I'm like, okay, I'm moving.
yeah,
There is movement. Still, if I do not And that's what I realized recently. I'm such a poor planner, actually. I'm like, tomorrow the rocket will be ready. Like, you
Yeah.
didn't even make drawings for the rocket and talk to rocket specialists about it. You're just like, tomorrow the rocket. And then you're like, the rocket's not ready. Bad. You're bad. You're stupid. You know?
I get it, but I think I told myself so many times that I wanted to achieve something, and then I got disappointed so many times, and then I basically just tied it under the carpet to not feel bad that I really learned is bullshit. Now, if I look at my week and day within the week where I sleep in, don't get up early because I don't know. I just feel like I need that. These are the days I achieve so much. And that day gives me also so much rebounds.
That's
Well,
the
I'm like,
flow right
yeah,
there.
I'm
Yeah.
not pushing myself out of bed just to be in the office at 8:30 or something and have the best desk. Bullshit. No, I just sleep in. I have my own flow. I just take my time to prep the day to like get on top of things and like really get slowly into my flow. And once I'm there, I'm like kicking it. And those days, I would get up, I would beat myself up that I cannot get up early, and I would already have like this whole package on my back going to the office. And no, it would be a shitty day, period. It could not get any better. And now I'm just like, yeah, but if you're maybe not so great in the morning, but then there's still
The whole
three
day.
quarter of the day
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like
that's the whole.
kick it super hard. And like, yeah, for example, yesterday you came back super late and I was still working. And I was super awake. I was super good. And I
Doing
was
it,
just
yeah.
like, okay, if that's the flow that I can work that late, it's fine. I did a lot and I felt really good. So
Super.
yeah, I think that's pretty yeah, that's just and I really can see comparing the past and comparing now how much more performance I can bring. So I think that really helps me to tell you also and be like, trust me,
It's okay.
it's really okay.
Yeah, that's what I had in my coaching call today. I was talking about like how unproductive I can get because I force myself to be like, hey, you're supposed to do this thing, and maybe you sat down, you did 20 minutes of good work, and then you're out of juice. You're like, no, you're not getting up until the thing is done. Well, actually, my emotion in that moment is like, I'm a little bit stuck. Maybe I need to call some of my friends, just have a
Yeah,
laugh,
just
go
some fresh air.
outside,
Yeah.
poke you, eat a banana. I
Make a
don't know.
joke.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, shake it off, whatever. Yeah.
And then it will come again or not, but just to allow that emotion to be validated. And I just prevent the flow from happening by forcing.
Just
Yeah.
like sitting,
Being so
staying.
rigid, being so rigid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That really doesn't help.
no, and it usually, because the emotions are not nice, that's what I was talking about with her. I reach out to social media to numb myself, like the phone, like
But and then you even less.
another
Yeah.
stick to hit yourself with because you've been doing not work. Well, also you couldn't work, you couldn't function. You just needed that little breather.
Absolutely.
You didn't allow that, so you sedated. That's the word I use. I'm like, you sedated yourself with social media.
Yeah, sometimes it's really just 5 minutes. I mean, if I get to a point where I'm like, oh, my back is hurting, cannot sit. Just getting up, stretching a bit, going out, fresh air, drinking a tea outside for 5 minutes, and then I'm
No.
frozen to the bone, and I come back and I'm like, yeah, super fresh in my head. And that, like, to see, you just need to observe it. Like, take some days and just observe it, and then you see sometimes 5 minutes is a miracle.
Yeah.
It's a pure miracle, and you could be sitting half an hour beating yourself up with a stick trying to
That's what I was saying.
get some output, does it?
Like when I look at the clock, there's 30 minutes left. I'm like, oh no, sit down. 30 minutes. 30 minutes means you can eat a sandwich, work for 15 minutes, make notes for the
Yeah.
next time before you
Yeah.
take off again. What you got in store for me?
Where's the most scary and the most exciting part within change?
I think they're the same, scary and exciting. And that is that you don't know what's going to happen.
I love that.
I think, for instance, my energy management compass vision. I don't know what's going to happen.
I do.
I don't.
I
I
got some
have
special skills.
no, I have a lot of hopes and dreams, but I know life is also life. It's not a fairy tale.
Yeah, but you also have a mission.
Of course, but the fact
Hopes
that
and
you do
dreams.
not know what is gonna happen makes it exciting. So, and that makes it scary. So, like
Mm.
the unknown or the like uncertainty of things makes it exciting. It's like the little coin flip. Is it gonna be heads or tails? Well, if it's heads, you're like yeah. You know, I think that's the
That's a good one.
um, yeah. I think with unexpected change, that is not winning the lottery. Like maybe like, hello, surprise, go to jail, like Monopoly.
Hmm.
They're like, nah, I don't want to go to jail. But then you miss a turn. Like anything that you're not waiting for and it happens, it gives you friction because gives you a sense of loss and like
Is it?
discomfort.
Is it?
I think yeah. I think if something happens that you're not waiting for, but makes life way easier, it's not as difficult to deal with.
Mm.
But if something happened, like a chop off your foot, you weren't waiting for that.
Yeah.
Shit, now I have to deal with it without a foot. Then it like I lost my foot, sucks. Now I have this prosthesis, etc. It's a weird example,
Super weird. Yeah.
but it happens to people.
Mm.
Okay, um, but if I don't know, the mailman delivers a TV you didn't order and nobody checks up on it, you just got a free TV. That wasn't so hard. You're not going to complain to your neighbors about the free TV you got. You're just going to enjoy it. You know? Yeah, hush hush. So these weird examples are just there to uh, example that change on its own doesn't have a charge. It's not
Mm.
negative or positive. But if it's inconvenient, then you're like, fuck. But if it's convenient, like here's $100. Oh, thanks, Grandma. Wasn't expecting that.
Mm.
If you get a note, you owe $100 to the bank for some nonsense that you forgot about. You're like,
Mm. Yeah, I agree.
like getting stuff is easier. And I like this little Buddhist tale about this monk, in a Buddhist monk in a temple, super late at night. A young woman knocks the door. She's like, "Yeah, I had a baby. Can't take care of it. You take care of it." He's like, "Oh, is that so?" Takes the child, takes care of it. 2 weeks later, the parents of the girl come, throw stones at the monk. They're like, "You raped our daughter. She had a child. You're having it now. You're a bad monk." It's like, "Oh, is that so?" Another 2 weeks later, a guy comes who's the father of the child. He's like, "No, I've decided to marry the girl and set everything straight. Give me back my child." And he's like, "Oh, is that so?" So his attitude
Mm.
towards discomfort, giving, taking, all of it is very zen. To be
Very
like,
unattached.
it's like, "Oh, is that so?" Just the surprise of it. Because all
Mm.
changed. Like, oh, you have to chop off your foot. Oh, is that so? Here's the TV. Oh, is that so?
Mm.
It does not, like, the luck and unluck part of it, he does not take ownership of that. He's
Mm.
just spectating it.
Yeah, it's really observing it,
And
letting it pass.
I think if I don't know if for him still the scary and exciting exists. That's what I wonder
Mm.
in this story. Does the guy get scared or excited, or is it just like, oh, is that so? Yeah.
Yeah, the monk I know is like really smiling through all of that, which is really beautiful.
He's just doing his chores, being a monk.
Yeah,
That's I think
that's a nice one.
yeah. I have the I think the same question,
Mm.
But
What are the emotions that come up when you like the change? That
yeah,
was your
so before
question.
we were asking about stuff you just didn't like, and what are the one, two, three emotional responses to things that you do like?
I think first of all, I'm very grateful and say thank you a couple of times.
Mm.
Sometimes loud, sometimes in my journal, sometimes just inside.
Mm.
But really acknowledging that part became really important to me
Mm.
because I feel that really also makes you feel alive and makes you really, yeah, just be grateful for that is a beautiful feeling, whatever it is. When you really,
Gratitude.
yeah, gratitude is a beautiful feeling and really gives you a lot back. So I think that's the most important feeling. And yeah, I think just enjoying it as well. Being, like when, as I used to say, I deserve it. Like
Mm.
us, I really deserve it. And kind of like it's a very nice emotion to tell yourself, yeah, I was asking for that and I got that. Thank you.
And
I
if
really
some things you
deserve
didn't
it.
ask for, like really unexpected.
Well, then I'm like, the universe is sending me something good. Maybe I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask for a new TV, but I got a new TV. Whatever I might do with it, it's more like this. Yeah, I don't know. I think just seeing the beauty in it is already enough, and being like, yeah, that's really beautiful. That's great. That's something that I got extra.
And if you look at the answers you had for both questions, so what are your emotions when something happens that you don't like,
Hmm.
and what are your emotions when something happens that you do like?
Hmm.
What comes to your head when you look at the two answers?
I think the spectrum got smaller. They got closer to each other.
Tell
That's
me
what I
more.
find pretty interesting. I was thinking about it for a long time, and I was like, we've been discussing that in a Buddhistic retreat as well, and because we've been like, is that feeling the full spectrum of emotions? If you like show gratitude for the bad and for the good, it's kind of like feels like it's just
Mm,
one small spectrum.
yeah.
But then I was like, no, actually, it's more looking behind it, like you look further, you look ahead, and you're like, what is it telling me? Why am I getting it if it's something great? But also, what is it teaching me if it's something bad? I'm kind of like really trying to not label things bad.
Yeah, good or bad is such
It's
a
just something that
human.
I assume because maybe it just feels unfamiliar. It feels like something I didn't ask for, but what is in for me? Like leaving my career because of my burnout. I didn't ask for that. It didn't make me feel pleasant, but now looking back, it's really something I'm super grateful for. And now I'm like, shouldn't been resisting it for such a long time. The whole burnout, I was just like, nah, I can perform it, etc., etc. And just like leaning into it. And I think that makes you kind of change the spectrum width into the everyday and every moment experience of really feeling alive and experiencing it in the moment.
Savoring stuff.
Yeah.
So you would almost be able to savor unexpected negative event as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I think that's kind of how, if I compare both, what comes to my mind.
That's beautiful.
It's not always easy, but if you like really lean into it and you start to feel this emotion of being alive and being really grateful, you get hungry for it. That's really a nice feeling. It's like,
I think it's like the depth of
yeah,
life.
opening eyes, opening your eyes and being like, wow, I got a new day.
All this stuff, all
Wow,
this
I
stuff.
could have not woken up. I got a full new day. Here I am.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's what I feel like when I went to Rotterdam yesterday. Also, like I was really aware of it that I like. Okay, I'm really struggling to get started with this day. Driving in the wrong right direction, finding a place to go to the toilet, and I was really aware of it that it's okay. It's not over yet. And eventually it turned out to be such a beautiful, connecting day. But if I would have, almost, because that's something I can do. Like something bad happens, and then I take it with me. Well, instead this time, as the bad things was happening, I was like, "Meh." And then when the bad things were over, I was like,
yeah, just light. Yeah.
just like letting
for
it
me,
flow
it's
through
like,
you.
yeah, exactly. Like not letting it stuck in you. For
Yeah.
me, it's like taking the wrong turn and ending up on the wrong side of the highway. Is always like, oh, gotta see those buildings, nice. Such an idiot, always take the wrong turn.
Yeah.
But like really making it light, laughing about me, because I can, like, I really have the talent to take the wrong turn every
class.
time.
I remember
like,
when I was driving back from Frankfurt one time, I was driving super fast, Autobahn, on my motorcycle, pulled over, tanked a full tank of gas, drove, realized, oh shit, I'm going in the wrong direction. When did I realize that I'd like almost 100 clicks further? Okay.
Oh my god.
Fully retarded, going 240.
Whoa.
And then turn around again, drive again,
and then get
tank
at the
exact
same
spot. Just like 2 hours later.
extra lap.
Super. Like, where are you?
That's where you realize you're not in the moment.
Exactly.
That's when
That's
your head
like
is either in the past or in the future, but not in the moment.
Big message. Really, really big message.
Yeah, you know, like
You're
a
not in
huge
the moment.
sign.
You are not
huge
present.
sign. Yeah.
Oh.
La 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 la, going just past, but like going in the wrong direction.
So it's nice.
Speed is nothing if you don't know your
tempo,
direction.
Yeah, it's no tempo. Yeah.
Doesn't bring you anywhere.
And I think it's nice that you're able to realize that your attitude towards change emotionally now is almost mostly, I don't know if curiosity is an emotion.
I think it is.
But intrigued. You're mostly intrigued by whatever it is. You're like, what could this be?
Yeah, I think, we talked about it the other day, and you said that you have always been rushing. Like you always felt you have to little time.
Yeah, I still feel sometimes.
I had that for so many years. I always felt like year after year going by like this. And I always felt like waking up at the same time at the end of the year, super stressed and being just like, fuck, another year just passed. And I didn't feel I experienced life. And that always left me with such a bad feeling that really the burnout made me realize this is not how I want to live. This is not the experience I want to take out of life. And that's what I changed. So that's why I'm really like, I have a different pace. Yeah. And it might be slow for someone. I don't care. This is my pace. And I'm just really...
yeah, it's life.
Yeah. That's what it is. And whatever I achieve...
I got to enjoy my sandwich. I'm not bothered with your nonsense.
Yeah, it's also just like looking back at the year. I'm such a different person. You know, I changed so much.
I think if I would stand still right now, I'm like where I was.
And then maybe our businesses are not where we want them to be, but then I'm also like this also takes time. That doesn't just happen overnight.
Foundation is big.
Build this foundation and be where we are, know each other as we know each other is a blessing. It's just a blessing. And that just also takes time. So yeah, and everything else will come. It's just life decides for you more or less what is right in the moment, and that's a good thing to just go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Yeah.
Hit me.
I got another one.
Hit me.
How did your perspective on dealing with change adapted over time?
How did my perspective on dealing with change adapt over time? Makes me think of what my perspective on change was prior to the whole thing. I think in the past...
Emotionally, eh?
Okay, my perspective emotional is a complicated question, Jesus. So how did my emotional perspective on change over time emotionally?
Adapted. You want to repeat it once?
I need like some sugar water or something. I'm fainting on this question. Brain error, system reboot. I think
We're gonna get there. Wait a second.
I have to think for a moment. I think. What do you mean with perspective? Like my emotional perspective. What is that? I really don't know.
You're dealing with change was
Yeah.
something that you would neglect, right?
I think yeah. I think now I
Like
understand it. Now I understand.
getting the
I would.
wheelchair was
No,
just
no.
like that's
Like
not happening.
even before my accident.
That's my best example. But
Yeah, I think I was always. I had some type of mission. Okay. And my mission was always much more bigger, complicated, and busier than what life at my age was presenting.
Mhm.
I guess a lot of responsibilities at the same time, etc. I think my perspective has changed in the sense that I allow my emotions to I try to allow to my emotions to manifest as change is occurring. While in the past, like, oh, this and this happened, ain't nobody got time for that because other stuff is happening.
Also to allow something to come back that you suppressed maybe in the past.
Basically, I was dealing with like imagine your mailbox is like 2 years unopened, and you're just like opening the old emails, and all these emails are your emotions. While I've taken the time, I guess definitely the writing helped me with that. Open all the emails, feel all the
Sit in
feelings. Yeah, feel all the feelings.
Yeah.
Cry your eyes out, laugh, indulge, soak in it. And nowadays, I am aware of my pattern to not want to feel in the moment. I'm able to recognize it. I'm aware of when it happens, and I can step into it, and then I celebrate that. I encourage myself when I'm doing that. I share when it's hard for me to do that. I guess, and I think the shift in perspective is that previously the old belief is that if I show my emotions, people's reaction will be negative. They will step away from me. Somehow I built that construct in my head in my childhood. While I have realized the only connecting, the true connector is emotions. If you show emotion, you evoke emotion. If you laugh, other person laugh, you yawn, you cry, another person is touched, is moved. And that is connection. You can write all the books and make all the spreadsheets, but it's not connection.
That's also just authenticity. The people that we see on stage, on whatever, that we like look up to, if they really step into their authenticity and really share how shitty, how bad, how whatever happened to them, that's really humane.
Yeah.
That's real. That's why you really feel touched and you're like, wow. This is insane. Like, whatever the person went through, wow, I feel connected. I feel so much emotion shared, and that's why it's a very interesting perspective that you just said.
It's connecting, I think, and that's why I also look at sharing, manifesting emotions as the connecting factor. I have it on my little wall. Like I am really curious about the interaction that will unfold if I do show my emotions.
Me too.
Instead of being afraid of a negative reaction. Whatever it will be an exchange of chemistry. And sometimes it's nice chemistry, sometimes it's not. That's okay.
And
that's
it's a
still
label.
An experiment.
That's also a label. If you just stay curious, then you might be really surprised.
I think the curiosity is the emphasis for me.
It's kind of like,
you want to know, you have to experiment, you have to share.
And then you also might get to know different side of people. Some that you would think, oh, I can never share that emotion with them. They might really react
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, wow.
Yeah, just like the stuff that Mache was sharing with me
Yeah.
after the call. Super intimate,
Absolutely.
super authentic, super
Yeah.
not scared to share stuff.
Also such a trusting
Very,
way.
very way,
Yeah.
way like speaking to each other 2 times.
Exactly. And feeling like knowing each other super long time.
Yeah, like best friends who don't share that kind
Yeah.
of stuff with each other.
But I think, yeah, sometimes you just meet people in life and you feel this connection and you're like, I feel safe enough to share that.
It's true. It's very
You
true.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
One last question.
how do emotions help you deal with change?
Good question. I think it's, yeah, if you kind of allow the spectrum of emotions, it helps you to not get stuck. You know, if something happens and you kind of, I don't know, you feel like you want to cry, but you're like, no, I don't want to cry because then those people might think I'm an idiot, and you just suppress it, you kind of store it in a very negative way in every cell. And when exactly this comes back, it kind of floats it up again. And then, yeah, and then you have the decision to like suppress it again and make it worse and worse and worse. Like you can redo that cycle every time. It just gets worse.
That's what I'm good at. I used to be good at it.
Yeah, like the book I was reading, basically he's saying a guy, he was his girlfriend cheated on him and she was driving this car, and then life moved on, and then one day he sees exactly the same car and everything just floats up again. And he's exactly in this bubble of like, fuck, thinking about how that was. And then you have like two choices, eh? You can be like, until you see that car again or whatever circumstances, and it comes like more of a wave and more of a wave. Or you just like, that's really unpleasant, that really hurts, it's really uncomfortable, but you know what? I just want to let go of it because I'm done with it. And then you just let go. So it's like permeating you.
But like allowing those emotions.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was, I could not imagine getting angry. I realized like it takes me a long time. I do not give myself the right to be angry. You know?
It's an interesting perspective.
Or I do not allow other people the right to make me angry, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's very controlling.
What's wrong with you? Why don't you just want to get angry? When you're angry, we're like, ah! When you're sad, we're like, like this almost fear. I guess it's all fear-based to share these emotions.
Also very controlling, like...
Super robot.
Exactly.
Super robot. Yeah, so the allowing these emotions, then you can let it go.
They just let them flow through you, you know? Like, I don't know, if something makes me really angry, I can just like explode for a second and just bark for a moment.
Yeah.
And then I'm just done. Like, I don't know, if I call someone and nothing happens and they're like trying to just get rid of you, I can just like, boom, explode for a second until I get what I want. And then I'm like super friendly again. But just like allowing the whole spectrum is really a good way. Just dealing with it, and makes it not stuck. I think that's something, whenever there is something, I really listen to my intuition. I'm like, am I trying to like bury suppress it and like store it in a bad way, or am I just really allowing it to just go through me and not get stuck? I had so like much from the past.
I'm on my beginning of my journey of allowing stuff to go through.
I think you have a good teacher.
Great teachers.
Yeah, but this is true. Reading the book kind of made it even clearer for me.
Which book?
The Untitled Soul. Yeah, that's what he's reading. The book that you're dissing. But there are a couple of things that taught me a lot, and I was like, this is such a good way to really realize that stuck emotions are always there. Lessons that will come back and will come back, you know? If I don't know, would be afraid of a heartbreak, then us would not happen because I would not allow you that close. and you are super close. But
Pretty
I'm just
close.
not afraid. I'm like, yeah,
Can't touch
why?
this.
Can't touch this. Yeah, it's true. And if I be like, yeah, he might break my heart, and I have so many feelings for him, and I really like him, and then I would just like put up my armor again and be just like, no, superficial relationship type.
No, it's true.
So, there's
So
always
true.
risk.
So allowing emotions gets you through the change
Mm-hmm.
quicker, almost.
Yeah.
And then authentic, that's one word that you used.
Yeah.
Feel like,
Humane.
yeah, also more relatable. People know, like, hey, she's gone through that. I saw how she dealt with it.
Yeah.
And I
And
think what I
maybe,
really also see with you is you do not let those emotions define you. You are not your emotions. Your emotions are part of you, but you're the one housing these emotions. Well, I think a long time I had the fear of like the emotions will overrun me or like I will drown in these emotions, and that's why I was afraid of them.
they're only as big as you make them.
Yeah, really big.
Yeah, but sometimes I don't know. If I'm sad, I can just sit down and cry.
Yeah,
Or listen to a super sad song and just really cry it out, and then be like, okay,
yeah. Yeah,
it's
sometimes
done.
you just
It's
need to
gone.
cry.
It's
Yeah,
gone.
sometimes.
It's out of the system, and it's good. And also laugh. Yeah, whatever it is. Sometimes it's just really, if you feel something, then you just like, yeah, let it happen. It makes
Yeah, I
it
was really
afterwards. You really
happy
feel lighter.
when you were sleeping on Sunday, napping here. My mom posted a picture of a little leaf with a picture of her mom, her dad, and her brother who passed away, with a little photo of their house, with a little text of like a little tribute to the ones that are watching over us. It really touched me, and I was able to cry a little bit, also for them, also for myself.
Wow.
I was so happy. I was like, wow, this is so nice to be there, to be to feel what she,
Connected.
yeah, to feel what she's putting out there, allowing it to resonate, and just like you were here on the couch sleeping.
So you couldn't share.
No, it was good. It was good. I was happy to have it by myself. I savor those moments definitely.
Great. That's beautiful.
Got any
Beautiful
left?
episode. No, I
That's
think
it.
that's it.
So, what do you do with your emotions? That roller coaster. It's like inside of you,
Woo!
inside of you when change is happening. Change is happening. Change is happening
Yeah.
all around us all the time.
The only
Thanks.
thing that is sure happening is change.
Thanks for tuning in for the Love Change podcast.
Thank you, people.
Make sure that you're subscribed.
Share.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Kay.
Thank you for sharing, Amor.
And if you have suggestions for us for next week's episode,
give it to us. Yes, please.
Yes, please. Love Change out.
Love change out.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for tuning in.